I've spent almost 15 years of my lifetime after the graduation. I was an alumni of Ahmed Sabusuddi College of Engineering into the IT sector. During this duration, I have been part of organizations like TCS, Capgemini, and I'm currently working in an American-based multinational product company. It's a smaller company as compared to TCS and Capgemini, which are massive, massive to be honest. And I seem very less experienced in front of the panel which is out there, but honestly, we're living in a generation right now where within 15 years you have teenagers who've set up 4 companies and sold all of them, right? So it seems that in the world of IT, 15 years is a lifetime, although I have 20 years more of my career left if I'm healthy and I'm willing to do that. Yeah. So first of all, I would say that I can't become the voice of the entire private sector because, as my background has stated and as I've also mentioned, I work in the IT sector. But IT sector itself, the way it was brought out, the generation in which it was thought over, there was an inherent vibrancy and liberalism that was attached to it because it was an international model, right? Majority of it was thought out in California, Silicon Valley, originally where semiconductors and chips were built, and then after a later stage, softwares were built, the dot-com revolution happened, Y2K happened, because of which tons and tons of Indians were also asked to go to the US and work there. After that, the dot-com burst happened, and since then, the IT has stayed there, right? But the major IT companies right now are probably organizations that are shaping how we're going to perceive reality in the next 10, 15, 20 years or so, right? Google has changed the way how we search for things. Facebook has changed the way how we communicate and how we make friendships. And WhatsApp has changed the way how people over 50 years now gain their knowledge from. Apparently, it's not from newspapers, right? And not from actually going to books as well. WhatsApp पे जब knowledge मिल जाती है तो फिर क्या ज़रूरत है, right? So now, in order to do that, in order to create such products that have an appeal from a teenager to someone who is at the age of 60 to 70, you can't do that with a closed mind. Only people with an open mind can think of products that appeal from a child to an elderly person, right? And in order to do that, there were lots of things introduced within the industry. The dress code is required in certain cases. In my cases is because my product company deals only with financial institutions. And the world of finance still today believes in a lot of formality. So there's a formal sense to it. But in Google, in Facebook, you can wear a knicker, you can wear 3/4, you can wear a t-shirt, you can walk there. Only if you're good at programming, that's enough, right? You have bowling rooms, you have swimming pools, you have pools, you have discotheque nights, you have movie nights and stuff like that. This entire culture kind of played a very big role into breaking of ice in a certain way. Hence, the problem of discrimination was very less. Very less, not completely eradicated. And I have a couple of examples as to why. An organization can only protect you from a policy perspective. But the behavior of your colleagues might or might not fall into the category of the policy, right? So as a policy, no one can actually go ahead and comment on my religion. There is an HR policy for it that if they do and if I file a complaint, then there's a problem, right? And secondly, again, because of the fact that we are creating something which is so vibrant, it's a creative field, right? It could be compared to an advertisement industry or a media industry where you can't actually create something unless your mind is completely free. People tend to keep their biases on the side and work towards solving a problem. So that's the advantage of an IT industry as compared to, let's say, the male-dominated industries of factories, malls, and everything else, right? Are our policies, even on the IT side, good enough to prevent communalism or prevent making anyone uncomfortable The answer is no, right? For example, sexual harassment now has become such a prevalent topic that in every organization you have very, very strong rules around it, right? What's appropriate, what's inappropriate, right? And there was one such a panel discussion, and I asked a question to somebody that if a colleague comments on the attire of a woman, if it is aligned to a certain religion, would that be considered as some sort of sexual harassment? The answer came no. If the female has worn, let's say, a certain shorter dress or certain tight clothing, and if you comment on that, it would be considered as sexual harassment. But if there's a comment on a religious attire, it wouldn't be considered into, sexual harassment per se, and hence there are no strong rules for it. So I think first of all, it needs to be understood that the protection at policy level is very good, but it still relies on good faith and the behavior of humans per se, right? However, in recent times, the conversations in the canteens, the conversations in general topic, the deification of certain ministers or the highest minister of this country does come up, right? Sometimes it's offensive, sometimes it's not offensive, but unfortunately that's how the society is right now where we live in, right? My own personal belief is workplaces are not a place where you should be shaping your intellectual discourse around the society per se. Don't shape it, right? You can give a harmless advice, you can talk to a friend as such, but I think you should need to keep some sort of a distance between it. And I'll tell you the reason for it, right? Again, because of IT, we work in very strange hours, right? We support clients globally. So you sometimes work till 12 a.m. in the night, 1 a.m. in the night, 2 a.m. in the night, right? And when you're spending so much time, which is not a 9 to 5 work job per se, you tend to have a different sort of intimacy also with your colleagues, right? When someone sees you at 12 a.m., you're basically out of shape, out of it, and there's a certain sort of transparency in your personality which is not there from 9 to 5 a.m. From 9 to 5, you're on the best of your behavior. But at 12 a.m., you're not at the best of your behavior, right? Something can slip out of your tongue. Certain frustration could come out. Anything could happen. So go ahead and try to ensure that that doesn't happen. At the end of the day, it's going to be the inner decency within that human being that is going to ensure how tolerant we become and how good a workplace eventually becomes for our own selves. Yeah.
बुनियादी अखलाक, मज़हब का, दीन का बेसिक कंटेंट अखलाक के ऊपर दारोमदार है उसका सारा के सारा। अगर आप देखें तो बेसिक अखलाक है ना, और अखलाक आपका जितना मजबूत हो, क्योंकि अगर आप इतने ज़्यादा कमिटेड हैं हम लोग मज़हब से या दीन से, तो वो बुनियादी तौर पे अपने अंदर कुछ एक ख़ास किस्म का कैरेक्टर देखना चाहता है। अगर उसको आप स्ट्रॉन्ग करें तो दीन में कौन सी चीज़ें जो स्ट्रॉन्ग कर देती हैं इंसान के अखलाक को, उस पर तवज्जो देना ज़्यादा कर देंगे। मोहम्मद अली शेख साहब, आईटी का जो बूम आया, ये भी रिकॉर्डर भी, अभी पिछले 20 वर्षों में हम देख रहे हैं कि आईटी और आगे तो दो ही चीज़ें रहने वाली हैं। काम के नाम पे एक ये जो रेवोल्यूशन आया है इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी का, और दूसरा बायोटेक्नोलॉजी का, ये दो चीज़ें ड्राइव करेंगी आने वाले 30 वर्षों में दुनिया को, ये हम सब जानते हैं। तो एक वर्क कल्चर था, तब्दीलियाँ आई, अब आईटी में ऑनलाइन और वर्क फ्रॉम होम है, और हम वर्क फ्रॉम होम के ऊपर बात ज़्यादा नहीं करेंगे, लेकिन हम थोड़ा सा समझना चाहते हैं मेरी जनरेशन के लोग, और कि ये जो काम करने का तरीका है, इस काम करने के तरीके में डाइवर्सिटी तो डेफिनेटली है, लेकिन लोगों को एक अपनी आइडेंटिटी से एक थोड़ा सा प्यार होता है, और अपने मज़हब से भी, मज़हब को भी पालना चाहते हैं, मज़हब पर भी अमल करना चाहते हैं। इन दो को आपने तो कहा कि साथ बाहर रख के आओ, अभी आपने कहा बाहर रख के आओ, लेकिन ये शायद हमेशा मुमकिन नहीं होता। आपकी शिफ्ट है 8 घंटे की, 10 घंटे की, आप काम कर रहे हैं, तो जुमा की नमाज का भी टाइम है, तो आपकी इंडस्ट्री में इसको कैसे देखा जाता है, इस पर लोग कैसे अमल करते हैं?
So when I mentioned that office is not the place to mingle, I meant intellectually mingle. It doesn't mean that you have to compromise on your principles per se. I offer namaz. I've been to a Michelin chef star restaurant in Melbourne, right, with some of my clients, where delicious Tasmanian beef was served, but I couldn't have it because I practice eating halal food, right? But does it offend me if my colleagues can have levels and levels of exotic wines while I have to make do with a plain soda or a water? No, it doesn't. So, intellectually, you have to be very, very stable. Now, the good thing about the IT industry is it lets you practice your religion to a certain degree, right? For example, when you are working at a non-client site, you can go ahead and wear a certain dress if you want to, but inherently, the the Western dress among men, especially, is considered to be the dress that is very easily adaptable to, and that will get you greater acceptance. So, persons or young boy can keep a very long beard, right? I've been keeping a beard for almost since I've married, right? 11, 12 years now. Not that long, but you can keep a very long beard. You can wear a topi also. People are absolutely fine with it. You can fold your pant to a certain level also, right? But if you go ahead and wear a kurta pajama, I haven't really seen anyone wearing it and coming to office, right? Now that self-censorship is not enforced by the organization, right? In certain cases, but in some cases it is enforced as well. But that is not to prevent religious dresses, people having religious attire to come to office. That's to ensure that a certain level of decency or decorum doesn't get broken in an office, right? So in a professional setup, if an organization has to frame a policy, for example, कि आपको एक ड्रेस कोड बनाना है, तो आप क्या बनाओगे? You can't say what is not allowed, because that is then becomes a very long policy document. लोग HR के 2 पेजर के मेल भी नहीं पढ़ते है ना, तो एक 50 पेज का गाइड तो कोई नहीं पढ़ेगा, राइट? सो व्हाट इज अलाउड, जब वो फ्रेम करो ना, देन आई थिंक इट कम्स टू अ वे कि हाँ, आप कॉलर वाले पोलो नेक टी शर्ट्स पहन सकते हो, आप शर्ट्स पहन सकते हो, हाफ स्लीव्स पहन सकते हो, फुल स्लीव्स पहन सकते हो, आप टी शर्ट्स पहन सकते हो, उस पर कोई ग्राफिटी नहीं होनी चाहिए वाइल्ड, राइट? आप जीन्स पहन सकते हो फ्राइडेज को, वरना मेरी कंपनी में तो यू कैन वेर इट एनी टाइम, क्योंकि अगेन माइन इज अ प्रोडक्ट कंपनी, तो हमें वी ट्राई टू प्रोवाइड अ डिफरेंट कल्चर ऑल टुगेदर, डिफरेंट देन TCS, इन्फोसिस वगैरह. बट वहाँ पे भी आप फ्राइडे को जीन्स पहन सकते हो और बाकी का टाइम आपको शर्ट पैंट पहनना पड़ेगा. सो आई थिंक Muslims in particular treat this as self-censorship, and while they're okay to fold their pants, keep beards, etc., they do. Around a year back, I hired someone who was also an alumni of M.H. Sabu Siddique College of Engineering, right? She was a student of my wife. My wife teaches in Sabu Siddique College of Engineering, Computer Engineering Department. So, जितने भी रेफरल मुझे उससे मिले, excellent people, and पूरी organization गवाही देता है, excellent people, right? So I hired her, top to bottom, covered in a burqa, no problem at all. I am okay with her flexing her religious identity. She has been well accepted by her colleagues. और उसका इंटेलेक्चुअल करेंसी जो है ना, वो उसके फिजिकल अपीयरेंस की करेंसी को आउटवे कर गया है. ये जो ऑब्जेक्टिविटी है ना, जो IT देता है ना, जब डॉलर्स में कमा रहा है आदमी, जब आपका इमीडिएट बॉस US में बैठा हुआ है जहाँ पे एक इनहेरेंट लिबरलिज्म है, देन आई थिंक वो एक इंटेलेक्चुअल करेंसी को ज़्यादा तवज्जो मिल जाती है एज अपोज टू अ फिजिकल करेंसी, कि हु कैन गेट द जॉब डन. नाउ एम आई लकी दैट I got to work in an IT industry probably, and maybe other industries are not like that, but at least from my industry अगर मैं उसको represent कर सकूँ तो it's inherently liberal in nature. So physical appearance to a certain degree is allowed, but extreme तो नहीं देंगे, बराबर है? क्योंकि अगर कुर्ता पैजामा अलाउ कर दिया तो कोई बोलेगा मुझे धोती में क्यों नहीं आने देते, कोई बोलेगा मैं कांजीवरम में क्यों नहीं आ सकती, बराबर है? एंड देन द डिबेट बिकम्स एंडलेस. सो अगर वर्ल्ड वाइड यही एक्सेप्टेंस लेवल है कि जो फॉरेन स्टैंडर्ड्स ऑफ ड्रेसिंग है वो एक्सेप्टेबल है, देन लेट्स गो विथ इट, बराबर है। अगर इस पर कंसेंसस बन गया तो बन गया।
बहुत अच्छी बात आपने कही। मतलब आप ये कह रहे हैं कि आपकी इंटेलेक्चुअल करेंसी और आपकी अपीयरेंस वाली करेंसी, समझिए, अपीयर द करेंसी विच इज़ अपीयरिंग, या वैल्यू विच इज़ अपीयरिंग शुड बी, your intellectual value should be much more, then people will value you.